Hey everybody, this is John Franklin Reviewer, and I am continuing my Nightmare on Elm Street series here. Okay, so as just like the other ones, there will be spoilers in here, you've been warned. Okay, so let's get right into it here. Now I am doing a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Dream Warriors. Okay, so what is it that I really liked about The Dream Warriors here? Well, let's start with the acting. Let's start with Freddy Krueger. Oh, a lot better than he did in part 2, at least in my opinion here. I think a lot of people do agree about that, that 3 is better than 2. This is a huge step up, that how much Freddy Krueger goes from being scary to being funny in a perfect mix. This is like one of 2 movies that really does work out, and I really like it for what that is there. So Robert Englund back as Freddy Krueger. I love his one-liners. I love his deaths that we'll talk about a little bit here in the positives here. Love the story. The script was like 4 people, and one of them was actually Wes Craven. You know, I guess because I think he kind of gave like the first draft. That's how he got credit, I believe. So it's kind of nice to see him kind of get back into, especially the way part 2 went and all that there. And he was very disappointed with that one there, like at least just like I was. Then we get Heather Langenkamp back as Nancy Thompson. You know, much older actually. In this one to try to protect the newer victims and all that there. Thought she still did a good job and all that there. I definitely liked her in this one because she experienced in the first one with Freddy Krueger. She didn't know anything about him. Now she knows a little bit about him. And the thing is, she's able to provide more help, you know. I kind of like that when it comes to a sequel like that, where first time you're taking on your villain, second time you come back, or in this one the third time, second time for her though, and all of a sudden it's like, wait, I know a little bit more what to do, and I like that. I thought that was really cool on her part there, to try to explain it to them and all that there. I wish she explained a little bit earlier to them, but you know what? She didn't want to step on any toes there. Larry Fishburne in this one here, shortening his name. He's not really in it that much, but like the 2 or 3 scenes he's in, he does a good job. You got Patricia Arquette when she was very younger, one of the Arquette siblings. She does a good job. Everybody else, along with her, does a good job. All the other people, all the doctors, all the nurses, all the patients, everybody does a good job. Go into the deaths now. Really thought some of the deaths were really cool there. One person who wanted to be an actress and gets her head shoved into a TV and all that there, and the whole walk on the primetime bitch, I thought was kind of cool, of course. One of the greatest lines. The character named Taryn using, you know, and all that, and pretty much she dies by Freddy having all these needles and all that and shoving them in her arms and all that. So again, thought that was kind of cool. Kind of felt really bad that you know, Nancy dies at the end, but one of those things where I do kind of like that the 80s was probably the perfect time to do it, where especially in a horror movie where you have your main character in one, she comes back in one of the sequels and dies, along with John Saxon. He dies by Freddy's hands too. The practical effects in this were really, really awesome. I mean, one of my favorites from day one of watching this movie has to be Freddy Krueger's skeleton. I thought was really funny. I mean, the special effects of it, you know, may not be as great or practical, however you're going to look at it, but I still think it's pretty cool for what it is there. And then the whole giant spider eating Patricia Arquette's character, and Nancy has to come in her dream and stop him, actually. There was this mysterious nun throughout the movie. Turns out it was Freddy Krueger's mother, Amanda Krueger, and all that. And we get a little bit more information about the about Freddy Krueger's background and all this kind of stuff. So really, really interesting there that a nun had probably one of the baddest, you know, serial killers out there, you know, in film history. There was one scene where Nancy was talking to another doctor named Neil, who was, I guess, kind of the love interest, I guess, in there. She's about to walk away. She drops her purse, and he picks up this bottle that says Hypnostil. Now, I never caught this as long as I've watched this movie, and then I thought it was something interesting and new when they did Freddy vs. Jason. I didn't realize that they ripped, you know, Dream Warriors off for that movie there. I was like, oh, okay. That pretty much is a suppressant for dreams and all that there. So, again, something that, you know, something I learned this time around, even while, you know, watching it and filming this and telling you folks here. Moving on to the dislikes. Now, these might be more gripes. So, the first one is, there's a character named Philip who sleepwalks. And the thing was, there's a scene where Freddy actually slits his arms and his legs and turns him into his own puppet there. And Kincaid is actually in the same room as Philip there. And I feel like that he could have, because Kincaid knows he's a sleepwalker, and they don't really say anything where, you can't try to wake him up. That Kincaid had a chance to actually save Philip's life by waking him up. And what does he say? Have a good stroll, asshole, and that's it. Is the character Joey, who actually is silent throughout the film, and I wish he stayed silent throughout the film. Or one of those things that maybe he talks after everything was done kind of thing, like they kind of did that with like kind of a Hellraiser 2 sort of thing. But no, he's the one that ends up saving the other survivors by screaming, because they all got pulled into these like different mirrors from Freddy Krueger, and he screams and they all shoot themselves out, and supposedly he dies and all that kind of stuff there. But unfortunately, no, that's where he actually comes back at Nancy's father and kills Nancy and all that there too. And then the final thing is the timeline. How does this fit in with part 2? Is this supposed to be a sequel to the first one and a prequel to the second one? They don't really talk much about that one there, that there was another family in that house and all that, and that kind of bothers me a little bit. And my rating for this movie will be 3.5 out of 4 stars. So, A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Dream Warriors. What did you think about it? Give me a comment down below. I'll be curious to see what you got to say there. And if you enjoyed this, please subscribe. Please hit the notification button. If you haven't done either one of those yet, please give me a like on this video. And as always, stay awesome.